All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 4ocean podcast. Today, I am joined by Stephanie Bregman, our head of marketing. What's going on, Steph?
Hey, nice to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, of course. All right, so let's dive in. Would love to learn a little bit about what you want to talk about.
All right, let's start with this. I really wanted to talk today because I had questions. I
Sure.
wanted to talk about, when I first started here 3 years ago, we talked a lot about the bracelet side of the business.
Yep.
And how well how well we were doing, and it's been, we're blowing up, having so many people who are excited about wearing the bracelet, sharing the movement.
Yep.
When did it start when we said, you know what, I think we can start moving over to a partnerships division where we can start working with companies?
Sure.
When did that start?
So we originally started with the 4ocean bracelets and the products business. And so we started to shift over to a B2B model, or at least expand our B2B model. I'd say around 2022 is when we first started really thinking about it and implementing a program. And it all started just from, honestly, really just trying to find different ways that we can scale our cleanups. So selling products was the first avenue, and that was like, I refer to it a lot as like our Kickstarter campaign. That was like the Kickstarter campaign, kind of the stepping stone to the bigger picture of what we were trying to do. And so we really realized that we wanted to diversify the means of funding our ocean cleanups. You know, COVID was a big surprise for everybody.
Yeah.
And so we were so reliant on one platform and one business model. And so what we wanted to do was diversify the different revenue streams to be able to expand cleanups and be able to hire more captains and crews. And, I think when it comes to the B2B side, it's very different from the bracelet and the product side. You have a lot less moving parts. With the bracelet side, there's a lot going into advertising, shipping, fulfillment, manufacturing, customer service. There's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
And on the B2B side, what we've realized is a lot more of the margin and of the product and the sale can actually go towards cleanups. So you don't have to worry about agencies like Facebook and Meta and Google and ad buying and doing all these different things. So one thing that I really like about it is that we're able to put a lot more money into our cleanups. And that's like the entire purpose that we're here. So, we started expanding in 2021, 2022, really, and now we're really starting to gain some significant traction. And we're getting a lot more brands on board. And that's been the focus for the business moving forward.
Who was our first partner?
Our first partner, man, I honestly don't know. It's tough because like we didn't even have a partnership model, and there were like partnership deals coming through, right?
Yeah.
So like people would be like, hey, we want to do some custom bracelets, but also like, can we pull 5,000 pounds? I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, sure.
And so that's how it started. I honestly don't know. I'd have to go back and look.
Because I was thinking about it yesterday. I'm like, it seems to me that like the model of you buy a bracelet and you pull pounds, it just worked so well.
Mm-hmm.
And other businesses started seeing how well it worked, and we're like, we want to implement that.
Yep.
We just don't know how. So from a marketing perspective, I think it's really interesting to see that we were able to take what worked for our business,
Correct,
and figure out how do we make it work for their business. So in your opinion, though, with all the businesses we're working with now,
mm-hmm.
what would you say is like, if there's a company that's out there that is trying to get on that sustainability journey and they don't know where to start,
Sure.
why partner with 4ocean?
So I think the reason why they would partner with 4ocean is that we like to explain it as it's almost like a sustainability program in a box. We're going to perform and deliver a white glove service to work with you to really see how we can implement a sustainability program for your business or brand. So honestly, taking a look at what your goals are, what you're trying to do, and see how we'd be able to potentially leverage our captains and crews and our ocean cleanups to help facilitate a sustainability program. So whether that is trying to offset your plastic footprint, looking for more sustainable packaging options, or even like changing out the gifts that you're giving to your employees at the end of the year, wanting to give something that is impactful, made from ocean plastic, et cetera. So, I think that's one of the main things that we're trying to do is work with brands and find out how can we help leverage our platform, our cleanups and captains and crew, and support them in a way that can help them reach their goals.
That's amazing. But when it comes to like all the companies, we've done this podcast now for the I think most of the year now, and
Yep.
we've talked to a lot of companies.
Mhm.
What's the one thing that you see that is similar that they have as an issue and a reason why they come to us? Like, what's the issues that they're facing in their industries right now?
I think one of the biggest issues that a lot of our partners have is that they're dealing with plastic. They're trying to find solutions for their plastic production, for their packaging, for all of the items that are being manufactured utilizing either virgin plastic or sometimes recycled plastic. And so what they're trying to do is be able to offset that impact and trying to be able to fund captains and crews or plastic recovery from all around the world. And so that's one of the main things that we're seeing. And at the end of the day, I think it's also just looking at how to get their employees, get their team, get their entire community involved in more of a sustainable program. And that's something that we're trying to help and assist them with.
Is the industry not ready yet to make those changes to help these businesses?
I think the industry is ready. I think that we're starting to see a positive trend, with innovation in the packaging sector and a ton of different options coming out there. But I still think that we're not there yet from a cost perspective, right? We need economies of scale. We need competition. We need people to drive that cost down and find different ways to be able to utilize and make it an easy choice to pick the sustainable route. Because right now, I still do believe that businesses are put up against some very tough decisions as far as what they can afford. And so, everybody is trying to run their business efficiently and be able to scale and grow and employ more people around the world. And I think that right now, packaging is still very expensive when it comes to sustainable based packaging. But I think very soon we're going to reach that point where it is at a competitive price point.
That's amazing. I noticed too, like the partners that have done really well with us are the ones who've really taken on the sustainability journey.
Yep.
They've come to our 4ocean location here in Boca and come and done cleanups with us,
Yep.
or they'll update their landing pages, their stories. Like, is there one partner for you that has done like an incredible job that you're like, this is like a great explanation of what a perfect partner would look like?
Yeah. I think one example of a great partner is Good Pop. So Good Pop is a manufacturer of healthy popsicles. And so what they're doing is they have a food item that has to be put in plastic. They want to find an alternative route, but unfortunately there's nothing really available right now that they can use, or at least at a comparable price point. So what they're doing is they're offsetting their plastic footprint. So we've worked with them to calculate the total amount of plastic going into their products, and we're removing an equivalent amount of plastic directly from the ocean and coastlines. And so I think that they've activated this partnership in such a phenomenal way because they brought their leadership team out with us. Daniel, their CEO, their whole leadership team, like they've come out to cleanups. They've been a part of our quarterly partner cleanups. They've helped create the content talking about their initiatives. They've been very open about, hey, this isn't the silver bullet. This isn't the get out of jail free card, but we're just trying to reduce the impact that we're having in the meantime with this plastic and looking for sustainable options going forward. So I think they've done a fantastic job being able to talk about their impact, talk about the sustainability journey that they're on, and be able to bring that to life and share that with their customers. And I think that's been a great dynamic because, if you try and implement a sustainability program, but you don't communicate what you're trying to do, and obviously not greenwash, but be very transparent about where you are, where you're headed, what you're trying to accomplish, and where you ultimately want to go, then you're not going to get the return that you want to see, and you're not going to be able to get the benefit talking to your customers. So that's why we really, really push for our partners to communicate it effectively and transparently to their customers to be able to get the benefits of showing the amazing things that they're doing.
You know what I like that we're doing too? I like that we're also offering partners who may not have those creative capabilities in-house. We're providing them with the activation playbook, basically, that allows them to see, how do you activate a partnership? What does that look like?
Yes.
What do you think about like how, I'm not seeing a lot of other companies doing that.
Yeah, that's one of the main things that we're trying to do is make it easy to implement a sustainability program. Sustainability as a topic is already so difficult, and there's so many options and things that you could do that we're trying to make it easier for brands. So if they don't have the necessary creative capacity, the sustainability leadership component internally, that's where we can step in and help them out and provide the necessary assets, provide them the necessary guides and how-tos, and really give them that kind of roadmap or playbook on how can you implement a sustainability program and how can you communicate that effectively to your customers and to your partners.
What are the biggest mistakes that companies make when getting onto the sustainability journey?
Man, I think that's a loaded question, but I think one of the biggest mistakes that brands make when they start their sustainability journey is they might take a half-hearted approach. So they might be 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and then make some bold claims. I think that's a huge thing that's blowing up nowadays, right? Consumers are seeing through it, and they want to see transparent and honest actions that are being taken. And so when you have a brand that might have not really, they might have made some claims or like
Yeah.
by this goal we plan to, or this is, and there's not a clear action item list that's getting to that goal. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that brands can make is not doing it in a very transparent way. Consumers nowadays, they want to see exactly what you're doing, how you're doing it, and how you're going to reach that goal. And at the end of the day, if you have some mistakes or you hit some hurdles, being transparent and being honest about it, because people
Yeah.
appreciate that authenticity
Totally.
versus just completely shoving stuff under the rug and being like, hey, you know what, we're just going to push that date another 10 years. And like, we're just going to keep pushing another 10 years. And I
100%.
think people just see through that. So I think that's one of the biggest things that brands kind of make a mistake in when it comes to sustainability. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break and give you some information from one of our partners. So we are proud to partner with the Circularity Conference that's happening in 2025. This is from April 29th to May 1st, happening in Denver, Colorado. This is an awesome conference that I personally really enjoy attending because it's a conference that's focused on sustainability, circularity, and driving real change in the sustainability sector. So if you want to go, I highly recommend. We're going to be out there, the 4ocean team. We'll be having conversations, joining the breakout groups. There's so much amazing information that you can partake in and learn about sustainability as a whole. So if you guys want to learn more, check out Circularity, and we hope to see you in Denver, Colorado.
What about our impact? Because I noticed there's a lot of companies that will say that they are doing the work,
Mhm.
but like we can actually physically show them what we're doing, like before,
Sure.
during, after.
Yep.
So what would you say is like that difference for us?
Sure. I think there's just like in the carbon market, there's a ton of different options when it comes to offsets. So there is all sorts of plastic in the environment in the world that is being offset, and so there's multiple categories. So if you look at the very first part of it that's closest to the community. What is we kind of refer to them as community collection credits. So this is where plastic is being collected from door to door in these developing countries in a heavily populated city. This is essentially waste management. And so someone is going door to door collecting bagged up plastic from these families, from these communities, and they're making sure that it's recycled or disposed of
And there's
appropriately.
good for that, right?
Oh,
That's
100%.
okay.
No. We don't knock it. That's and that's something that we want to be very clear is like that is incredibly productive for the planet. That is implementing mandatory, necessary waste management infrastructure in these different places. And that's the first portion. The next one is going to be considered like ocean bound. And ocean bound, the formal definition is any plastic that is within 50 kilometers of a coastline or waterway. And so that means that it is destined to end up in this waterway and end up in the ocean. And so this might be an informal landfill right on the side of the road next to a river. This might be a big open pit that people are just dumping plastic in these developing countries, but it's right next to a body of water that is eventually going to end up in the ocean. That is where that plastic is collected. Same thing with even in these coastal communities, right? And so that's an ocean-bound amount of plastic collected. And then there's really this near coastal and ocean plastic. And so this is the plastic that's being removed right from the ocean, right from the beaches where it has washed up from the ocean, and it's being collected and then it's being recycled. So you've got community collection, you've got ocean bound, and you've got ocean. And so all three of these things are amazing for the overall movement of stopping plastic at the source. You're collecting plastic that is in the environment as well as stopping it before it has a chance to enter the environment. The one thing that we do want everyone to be careful with and be mindful with the marketing teams is that when it's community collection credits, be cautious not to say that this is removed from the ocean or use other terms that could be misleading or consumers. You just don't want to get it to the point where a consumer says, like, oh, I thought you pulled this offshore and out of the ocean, or I thought you pulled this off of a beach. But in reality, if it was from a heavily populated city where it was collected door to door, then consumers might feel like, oh, well, that's a little misleading. So I think that's one of the main things that we're trying to focus in on is that there's different options of credits. Obviously, all of them come with different price points and different resources and capital required to generate these different credits. But it's just like the carbon market. There's different things then different tiers.
So if a product has one of our certifications or one of our logos on them, a 4ocean certification logo,
Yep.
can you talk about how our customers can trust that that logo means something? Because that's really important for me. When I look at brands all over the world, whether it's ocean or not, there's a lot of people mislabeling things. And so I think in our industry, it's really important that we become the leader in what is considered ocean plastic and, and certifying that properly. So I don't know if you can talk about that.
Of course. So all of our pounds of plastic that we collect are documented every step of the way. So we take photos of the captains and crew before they're heading out, the lead captain and the crew members. We document where they're going. We take photos before, during, and after every single cleanup. So every single pound that we've ever recovered, we've logged, and we have photographic proof of where that plastic came from. All that plastic is then taken back to our facility where it's sorted by type, color, and condition and prepared for future recycling. So what happens is we then upload all of the information into our app, the Trash Tracker. And so this is where we're literally documenting the day, the time spent cleaning, the lead captain, the crew members, exactly how many super sacks of plastic, all the photographs of exactly what they collected, and all of that is uploaded into our dashboard. So we are sharing this with partners to prove that there's no double counting. Each pound is allocated towards their removal or their offset, and we're showing exactly where that plastic was collected and where it's going, how it's being processed. So that's one of the things that we're trying to do to drive transparency, because we do believe in this market. It's very important to show from start to finish what is happening and what is ending up with this plastic.
So those certification logos mean something.
Correct. Yeah. That's the whole reason why 4ocean, I say it a lot, we're proudly one of the most expensive options when it comes to a sustainability program or a plastic offset, because we are employing our captains and crews full time. We pay fair living wages, and we cover 100% of health insurance and benefits. We can document every single pound that has been recovered and show proof of that. And it's very expensive. I mean, we own our own vessels. We employ our captains and crew, insurance, maintenance, all the facilities. Like there's way more that goes into collecting plastic from the ocean than it does from an ocean bound effort or a community collection effort. Like I said, all very positive. They just each have a different level of impact and cost associated with them.
Awesome. Now, what is the biggest challenge in the industry? Because I think my biggest concern has always been, and I know we've talked about this, is there's a lot of companies out there that are doing things in a different manner, and we want to make sure that from a logo perspective, from a certification standpoint, we want to be leading the way. So I like what you said about how if you're going to show community collection, don't show a picture of pulling plastic out of the ocean.
Sure.
So what are the challenges that we're facing from a 4ocean standpoint with our partners and making sure that we become that leader in the industry and that others follow suit?
So, I think I'm going to answer it a little bit differently of in terms of maybe not just the certification seal or what we're doing, but one of the things that I think we need to work through as a whole industry is consumers' reception towards sustainability campaigns like this. And what I mean by that is, we've seen a lot in the carbon offset market that a lot of people are like, oh, it's all just BS, and oh, are those real, and what is the tangibility? It seems pretty squishy. And I think that when it comes to the plastics industry, plastic is a problem that's growing at an exponential rate. An estimated 34 billion pounds of plastic is entering the ocean every single year. And so we have got to start coming up with solutions. Do I think that the plastic offset market is the silver bullet? Do I think it's the one-stop solution for this? No, not at all. But do I think that it's something that's going to factor into the bigger issue? Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that plastic offsets as a whole are going to help fund the necessary waste management infrastructure, the plastic reclamation in these different areas, as well as the cleanup in the environment. So it's going to fund all the different things that need to be done in order to help stop the amount of plastic from entering the ocean in the first place. And so one thing that we see a lot is people are saying, like, please don't let plastic offsets become a thing. Like, we need to shut this down. Like, this is all BS. But let's really take a step back. We talk about the term EPR, which stands for Extended Producer Responsibility. And what that is, in layman's terms, is it's essentially almost like a plastic tax. If a company is producing plastic and putting it out into the environment, they should be taxed, and they should allocate a portion of their profits to go towards different efforts to clean up, process, or recycle that material. So I hear a lot of people say, like, oh, plastics offsets are they're BS and all these things. And while I agree that they are not the silver bullet, they are moving the needle in the right direction. Now, as long as a brand can market it appropriately, that it is not the silver bullet and the get out of jail free card, and they know that it's a step in the right direction, then I think we're great. We're putting more funding and more capital into cleaning, employing captains and crews, employing waste pickers around the world to clean up this material before it has a chance to enter the ocean, but also invest in the necessary infrastructure that we need for waste management and the processing of this material. So I think that's one of the hurdles that we have to get over in the sustainability industry is like, listen, it's progress, not perfection, right?
Yeah.
We know that this isn't the end all be all, but hey, it's moving in the right direction, and we want brands to be on board with how can we get involved, how can we start to help to fund some form of cleanup, while at the same time focusing on innovation in the packaging sector, reducing the amount of plastic we're producing and putting out into the world in the first place.
Awesome. My last question. I know I've been here for almost 2.5, 3 years. I've seen such a transition in the business model. And from a marketing perspective, I think what's really interesting is a lot of companies will hit a ceiling at some point, especially on the e-com side from a marketing perspective. And I feel like when companies hit that ceiling, they either break through it or they just stay stagnant.
Sure.
I feel like 4ocean has hit through that ceiling and then some. So that transition, I feel, happened when we really started migrating our focus to the partnership side of our business.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? And can you touch on that?
Sure. I think, when 4ocean implemented the partnership program, I think that it was just a new offering that simplified a lot of the different dynamics when it comes to how we work with partners and how we focus on our cleanups. There's a lot less moving parts, and we've been able to really focus on scaling cleanups and doing so in a very, very significant way, and not focused on which algorithm changed on Facebook and Meta and Google and all these crazy things. And while we still have our product business and it still is doing well, we just have put a lot of our focus into that partnership side. And I think that it allows us to do things that I'm a big fan of. We create genuine, long-lasting relationships with our partners. We focus on how we can help them implement sustainability programs, and then also look at, what can we do to help their business produce less plastic, find sustainable alternatives, and offset the footprint that they have in the meantime. So I really do feel great that we're kind of attacking it from both edges here, where it's like, we're turning the tap off, trying to work with them to find more sustainable solutions to their packaging, and funding the cleanup of plastic that exists in the environment. So it's a great model that helps us to scale cleanups in a very impactful way and create a bigger impact on the ocean. All right, so Steph, thanks so much for coming in and hopping on the podcast and rocking the mic. It was great talking with you.
It was awesome as usual. Thank you, Alex.
Of course. We'll see you next time.